think, yes, it's what we wanted out of it, but there's certainly room for growth. So the more that we do it, the more smoothly, I guess, and organically it kind of happens.
Yeah.
Because the first few times we're just kind of like, okay, well, what do we talk about? And so, was it the last time you weren't here, we kind of just came in and we talked about our data, and it just kind of naturally flowed, and so we're just getting better at knowing what to say and what to talk about.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Ms. Chetty, I know you stepped up as the team leader this time, even though you're not necessarily the IC or the department chair. How did that feel for you? What did you feel like were growing moments for you? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think honestly, when I first did it, those first couple of times, I kind of reflected back and thought, maybe I'm just not naturally a leader of my peers, you know? But I think that's a good thing for me to kind of think about why I felt that way, and I was, I did reflect on it, and then I thought, well, you know what? I might not be a natural leader of peers. You know, I'm definitely a natural leader, I think, with kids and in the classroom. But what can I kind of do to help myself with that? And I did really approach it as a learning opportunity. And I think bringing up that meeting that we had a couple of weeks ago, where we were kind of going and sharing, I was facilitating that. And I felt a little bit more confident and secure in that role. So I think it definitely built up my confidence in a lot of ways. Where at first I was like, I don't know how, I mean, am I really gonna be the leader? I can send out the calendar. But then I really thought, you know, I can do this, and I've been teaching a long time.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that you gave me the chance to do it, because I do love American literature, and I love the class, and I love anything that's gonna help all of us grow as stronger teachers. And in that case, even for me as a stronger leader, and that I can lead my peers in some situations. So it was a really a neat growth for me. It was some of the things I wrote down, and also I think it helped me show my strengths in getting things organized. I am a pretty organized person, and I like doing calendars, and I like agendas and things like that. So it kind of helped me feel more comfortable in that role of that, because I love collaboration. I love it. It's just, I think I'm always kind of just we're all collaborating together, but there's not necessarily a leader. So it definitely put me in a situation where I was able to grow. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Ms. Hayward, you're kind of in the opposite. So you just moved into the IC role, or department chair, but in this case you had to step back and follow Ms. Chetty's lead. So kind of how does that flip-flop for you in growth, in changing from instructional coordinator for the department and then following within a CC team?
I think it is beneficial to the whole group, because it's good to let multiple people have opportunities to develop and utilize their leadership skills. And I mean, that's something that's happened with me in other groups outside of our department, and it's helped me, like you said, gain confidence in myself and get that experience in maybe like a lower pressure setting before stepping into a bigger role. And this is a big group, so I feel like you've really handled it well. So
I appreciate that.
It's great to see my peers thriving in a leadership role as well.
And I think it also teaches you what a leadership role is too, because it doesn't necessarily mean you're talking the whole time, or that you're taking over in any way. And I think I had to kind of, like, I think I felt like whenever it got quiet, I had to fill the space. And I've learned over the last few weeks that I don't need to. Just sit for a second, let's listen, because being a leader is listening too. And I think that helped me realize, wait a minute, I am kind of comfortable. I know how to listen, and I don't have to necessarily be talking the whole time. Yeah, so I appreciate that too, and I think you're doing a great job too. Genuinely.
So, Ms. Chetty, how do you feel like you grew as a professional? That's a little bit different than as a leader in per se. What professional growth did you see with you in the classroom after the CCT meetings were put in place?
I think that it kind of goes with what I was just saying about this idea of being a leader and what that means. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you're telling people what to do, or you're talking the whole time. And even in the classroom, you can kind of get caught up in that, you know, the idea that you're standing up there and talking, when really it should be your kids talking and your kids doing the work. So I think it reinforced those ideas that I've been exploring as a teacher, as I've been growing that. And I would even say over the last 5 years of really trying to hand kids more stuff, you know, and how education has changed. So as a professional, I think it gave me kind of the confirmation that I am doing the right thing in the room, and that I can do that with my peers too. And also the collaboration and getting ideas also helped me grow as a professional. In that, you know, I'm getting more ideas, and delegating is a hard one too. I think even with kids, it's hard to delegate, and so I definitely feel I'm delegating more, so that's really great too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did collaboration with administration help put structure to your meeting times?
I think it's incredibly helpful, especially in the beginning, kind of getting this process started. And to be perfectly honest, I think a lot of us probably felt, I can speak for myself, maybe not everybody, felt like, you know, what is this? Like, why are we being monitored? And, you know, no, she's not going to anybody else's meeting. But in hindsight, I can see like that was actually really helpful. And the first time that you weren't able to attend, we were kind of like, what do we do?
Rosie's like, you're the leader. I'm like, okay.
Like I said, we figured it out, and we kind of found our footing, and but at the same time, while we felt like, okay, we can handle it without Courtney there, I was glad to have you back again when you came back. And so it just helps to kind of provide that structure up front and guidance in terms of what are we doing and what is this supposed to look like.
What do y'all feel like can be improved for American Lit, the Common Course team, moving forward after we've walked through it a semester, you know, and knowing that that's a new focus of our school, especially after we've done some PL as departments about what this looks like and how we're going to implement it moving forward? What progress, what needs to be done on our end to put better structures in place?
Well, we made the norms yesterday, and I think that that's going to really help in terms of efficiency and helping just utilize the time better. And I guess getting those short cycle assessments in place, that will help again with the structure of knowing, okay, this is what we're talking about every week.
I mean, the first thing I wrote to that when I was taking little notes is I wrote that one step at a time article, and I think I immediately went, because we'll be doing this, so this is going to be so great. And that comes down to the delegating too, and everybody having a job, and the trust that's going to come out of that as well, of trusting each other and using each other's resources in a really authentic way. I think is, and also the idea of our kids. I really was thinking about that yesterday, because I think I do a lot of times, in a way I say it very endearingly, like those are my kids, you know, because it's a very, and I do think that's an endearing thing, because we feel very connected to our kids. But I also love that idea that it's our kids, you know, and that we're all trying to help them all have success. And that's why I wrote, I really thought that article had a lot to say with the ideas of us building trust, delegating, not having to take it all on ourselves, which I think we both do that. I think all of us in English tend to have that control issues.
It's taken a little bit of time to kind of get in the right mindset with it, because again, at first it was like, you know, what, you're rocking the boat a little bit, what's going on, and now it's like, oh, this is actually going to be great. It's going to be easier for all of us, because we're not all going into our little zones and doing our own things. We're going to be sharing the load, delegating.
That's a great word. How do y'all feel this is going to have an impact on our student achievement? Like, I know specifically when we did SWI this time, we felt like it wasn't something necessarily that we could monitor, but the idea of coming in, collaborating on strategies that we're going to use with kids, talking about what's working well in our classrooms, talking about what's not, what do you feel like the impacts are going to be on student achievement for our kids?
I think typically, my default is to think kind of big picture, And this has really gotten me thinking granular, like very specific. What one thing are we trying to teach here? And do you get it or no?